Okay, I think we're live. This is my first adventure into the Be Live format, so hopefully you can see and hear me out there, and you can see my guest today, Dr. Angela Lauria. I'm super excited when her team reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to host a Q&A with her, because let me tell you, this lady will answer any question that you have about writing a book. And I think I posted earlier this morning that my book would still be half-formed sentences on my desktop if it was not for this woman right here. So,
well, and if it weren't for you, half of our authors wouldn't have titles. So so many of them understand their brand and kind of who they are and how their readers see them, which is fantastic. So I know that we share a lot of the same amazing clients, and you really helped, I think, readers be able to see our authors, just because of the way I think you see people so clearly. You're like, oh, obviously you're this type of person. And it's so easy for you. I think it's hard for people to see that in themselves.
Yeah, I mean, we are our biggest blind spot. You know, we can't see outside of our own perspective most of the time. So, I like to think maybe I can help them with that lens. But how many authors have you helped write their book so far?
So we're just heading up on 300. Our next launch in a couple weeks, we will hit the 300 mark. So, and you were probably in the first 50, I think. You were one of the early ones, early adopter.
Angela has blown up, and it's way different now than it was 2 years ago, which is incredible in itself. I mean, your growth has been absolutely phenomenal. Like, tell us a little bit how that happened, going from this first cohort of authors to now you've helped birth over, close to 300 books.
Crazy, right?
Yes.
So I think the big shift for me was focusing on the results that we get for people. And when I started, it was all about, let me help you with a book. And then I guess it's almost 4 years ago, I started focusing on, let's finish your book in 3 months. And so once I got really clear on the let's finish your book in 3 months, then it was like, oh, if I sign up to work with this woman, I'm going to end up with a finished book. And it just became so much more clear than like, let's work on this and there'll be a mysterious outcome at the end. It may be a book or something so once we started focusing on that, we've been sold out for, I don't know, almost 4 years straight. And we just keep increasing capacity, and it seems like there's never enough room at the end. But the great news is we get to work with incredible authors, and I get to read amazing books all day long. So that worked out.
Uh-oh, are we lost?
I was going to say, I just lost your audio. I see there's people watching. Can they hear our audio? Maybe?
I don't know. Can y'all post in the comment? How do we? Well, again, this is Ken. Let's see. Can you hear us? Okay.
Yes. What are people saying? I'm trying to find you on Facebook. Can you hear us? Okay. You messaged them. I feel like I need to hear you. Okay. That's the most important thing.
Yay, yay, nay. Oh, now Angela, you didn't freeze. I thought you did. Can you hear me?
Oh, yep. I got you now.
What is going on?
We're having, it feels like not enough bandwidth problems.
It's not usually though. It'll say, it'll say your internet doesn't have
connectivity. Yeah, well, there's 5 people here. Hey, you guys who are tuned in, we're psyched to see you. Can you let us know if you can hear us?
Yes, please. And who is maybe being a little glitchy or what's happening there?
Yeah. So, but I can hear you now. So ask me another question. And I just lost you again. I want to be able to hear you.
Better? Not better?
Got nothing.
What is happening? This is frustrating.
Yes, it is hard to answer questions you can't hear. And I'm wondering, I noticed there's 6 people here tuned in, but they are not 8 people.
Yeah, 8 people. I see that.
So, hello, 8 people. We need your help. Please tell us if you can hear us and if you can hear any difference between the 2 of us. Maybe you can hear me and not Danielle, or you can hear Danielle and not me. We are having trouble hearing each other. Hi, Laura. Nice to see you here. We're asking if people can hear us, which seems like a very basic question, but we are trying to, now everyone's gone.
No, I see 2.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Right now I didn't hear you say, can you hear me? But I could read your lips.
Wow.
And I can see you saying, wow, which is good. You're very lip readable. We can hear you both. Danielle sounds scratchy. Thanks, Laura, for helping us out. It's good to see you, by the way. I don't know how, if you could try to ask me another question. I seem to hear you like 50% of the time. 1 second. Sorry, you guys. We are going to get this Facebook Live rocking and rolling. We're just troubleshooting some technical challenges, and very excited that you all are here and to talk books with Danielle Miller, one of my favorite authors of ours, an amazing branding expert. Danielle's going to ask me questions down there. So my new book, Make 'em Beg to Publish Your Book, is all about how to make $250,000 from your book. And for a lot of people, they want that $250,000 to come from a traditional publisher, from a major book advance. And so we talk in the book how to get a big book advance. And then we also talk about other ways you can make $250,000 from your book. I even have a free training at quartermillionbook.com where I teach people that there are some reasons why a traditional publisher is a great path to take. And there are some reasons why traditional self-publishing is a great path to take. So really, the book is all about understanding what it takes to make a living in the personal development space.
Mm-hmm. So how about, can you hear me now?
I heard, can you hear me now?
Yay! So I know that, when I published a book, so how, talk to us a little bit about what your program does is different than one of these other routes that most people think about.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any good or bad routes. I think it's just finding the one that's a fit for you. And the way that our program works is for people who are using a book, to grow their business. Basically, what we do at the Author Incubator is we're incubating the author, not just the book. And what I like to say is the book is a byproduct of the program. So you're going to change as an author. And one of the ways that you'll change, one of the things that will happen is you'll end up with a book. But really what's happening is we're figuring out for the outcome you want. Because a lot of people will say to me they want to be a best-selling author. They don't really want to be a best-selling author. There's something they think being a best-selling author is going to get them. So we focus on getting them that thing, and the book is just sort of a byproduct of that. So what that means is in about 9 weeks, we go from an idea for a book to a finished book. Now, most programs take a year. We take 9 weeks to go from an idea for a book to a finished manuscript. Your whole book won't be done at the end of 9 weeks because we need to do some other stuff. But in those 9 weeks, what we're also doing is we're identifying what's the program your book is going to sell. And then this is totally crazy. We go and sell it. So most of the people in our program are generating revenue from the process of writing a book. And then once you have clients, once you know the book works, once you know your messaging is right, I mentioned before, a lot of our authors will work with you on their branding and finding the right messaging and finding the right title for their book. That's all part of the process. And that could take years. I'm sure many of your clients spend years just getting a, product line developed or getting a website developed. We have them do everything in 9 weeks because why the hell not? Let's just get it out there into the world, making a difference. And what that tends to look like is they have clients, a program, a book, a brand, all of that done in the 9 weeks. Then we can do some polishing stuff. Then we build a plan for how to scale that, because it's the way we do it. It's not very scalable. It's pretty scrappy. I use a lot of the philosophy from a book called Lean Startup, and which applies to the tech industry, but I apply it to authors. And we basically focus on how do we, in the scrappiest possible way, build a minimum viable product and find out if we have something here with legs. Then we're going to go and edit it and fine tune it and polish it and build something scalable. So what looks like a 9-week program to get a book, which it is a 9-week program really to have the outcome you wanted as an author. So sort of a different twist. I don't know anyone who does it, who does exactly what we do. There's a lot of people who help you get a book done, but it's the author incubation piece that most authors have to figure it out themselves, which, why would you know how to do that? Why would you be good at that? Most people haven't been an author before. If you want to be a first-time author, you got to figure out so many things, and we try and give people a safe space to do that in.
Yeah, and I think you talked about something really key here with the idea of getting clear on what the goal is for the book. Because most people just think, I want to write a book. I want to write a book, and I want to be known for as an author. That's my dream, is to be a published author. But without having a specific plan for what that book is engineered to do for you. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's so crucial. So how many times do you find that when people come to you, of what they write about?
I think you might have been asking, is what they end up writing different than what, did I guess right? Yeah, because I'm missing you on some of the words, but a lot of people do come to me and they think they're going to write one book. So how often does the focus change? Look, I even do the question, because it's the number one thing that happens is people will say, oh, I wrote a totally different book. So here's the normal projection that I find with our authors is they come to us and they're like, oh, I spent a year in Zimbabwe. I want to write a book about my year in Zimbabwe. Fantastic. Your year in Zimbabwe sounds amazing. And then what I say to them is, well, what do you want to come of that? And they'll say, well, I want lots of coaching clients. Or they'll say, I want to make $100,000 from my book. Or they'll say, I want to sell the movie rights. Or they'll say, I want to speak on this topic. And I'm like, okay, well, let's imagine the book is done. book's totally done. It's a year from now. How did you sell the movie rights? And they're like, oh, some random stranger picked it up, and it turns out they're a Hollywood producer. And I'm like, what are the chances of this? So what I find most people's goals are based on some sort of lottery system. Like they're hoping they get spotted at the mall and they become a supermodel. There's like this amazing supermodel named Alek Wek from Sudan. And she was like in a video of, hungry children starving in Sudan. And somebody in Hollywood picked her out and said, let's make her a famous supermodel. Like, I think that's what they're all waiting for, is some sort of surprise casting call or winning a lottery ticket. And like that may happen, but it seems like a terrible thing to invest in. Like for sure, don't sign up to work with me if you just want a lottery ticket. Let's just buy lots of lottery tickets. Working with me is expensive. You could buy a fuck ton of lottery tickets and maybe you'd win like that. Or let's go to Vegas and let's dump that money in a Bender weekend on the craps table, because that's what the chances of success for most people. And what I want our authors to know is that we could have like 95% certainty of success and that little bit of luck. Like I think so many successful people talk about luck, the impact that luck had. Like we want luck to play a role, but we want it to have like a 5% tweak where it's like we knew you were going to be successful, and if luck comes in, it's like we blow it the fuck up. And if luck doesn't come in, or if negative luck comes in, bad luck comes in, we like lose a little bit. But like we want like a 95% chance this is going to be a 10x ROI for you. And what that means is probably at least 50% of the time, probably more like 75% of the time, the book that people wanted to write ends up being different than the book they write with us. Now, here's what you'd end up writing. Or a person who went to Zimbabwe. If they told me like, hey, I want a 6-figure coaching practice, that's what I want to get out of this, then the Zimbabwe story might be a chapter. Or maybe the Zimbabwe story is a couple paragraphs in each chapter. But we need the book to be about a problem that people would pay a life coach to help them solve. We can't have a book that's just like your memoir and then hope that people figure out how it applies to them. Yeah. Or hope somebody picks it up and makes a movie and you get famous that way. Like, we want something more than hope as our strategy. And so I always let them include what they want in the book. The book can include anything, but we want to do it in a way that's strategic to get the outcome that you want. So yes, almost always the books end up looking quite different than people expected. But there are a few people who come through, they've sold their program, they have lots of clients, they're just ready to scale up, and the book is exactly what we would expect. It doesn't never happen, but it's more rare than you might expect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm going to type this in the chat just in case it doesn't come across.
Oh, Danielle asked how important is the title. And how important is the title is such a great question, because when somebody buys your book, this seems to be a shock to most people, but when they buy your book, they haven't read it. I know this sounds crazy, but like, stay with me. Most people think, oh, here's all the stuff that's in my book. People are going to buy the book because of what's in it. They haven't read your book before they bought it. Here's what they know. They know the title. They know the subtitle. They know your name. And they know the back copy description. They know the marketing copy description. So you have to think about where they are before they start. And by far, the number one deciding factor in buying a book is that title. So what I say is the title has to be your author's, your reader's problem or dream come true before they read your book, not what they're going to know after. Because you're not going to buy a book based on something you don't know yet. It would be like giving me the answer to a physics problem. Like, I don't know anything about physics. I'm not excited about how string theory works. I don't know what it is. You got to get me excited about string theory. So you have to say, like, have you ever wanted a universal theory to explain how the planet evolved? Then you can tell me about string theory, but not on the cover. So that's one of the biggest mistakes that I see people making with their titles. It's usually what they want the title to be, or it's something clever, but it's for them. It makes them feel really good. But I know when our authors work with you on their titles, the titles are, I call it having a servant's heart, but the titles are designed for the reader. It's not designed to make the author feel like, I'm so brilliant and clever. Who cares? Mm-hmm. The titles have to attract the reader where they are before they buy your book. And Danielle is a title ninja, says Cindy. Flipping the fairy tale. Great example. Amazing title.
Yeah. Well, and I think what people miss, I'm not sure how well you can hear me with this, is, ultimately, like you said, it's the title. If I can, when I work with clients, if I can get at that message, that's the most important thing they want to share with people and encapsulate that in that title, that to me helps them clarify their movement. There's so much behind the title piece and the content of the book in getting clear on that coach's message that they want to share with the world, the movement that they want to start. So I think it's so important. And one of the things, I'm not sure if you lost me there.
No, I'm still with you.
Okay, because I'm like distracted because I see myself over here too. So I'm like, and I see kind of this little bit of a lag. But one of the things that I love about you, Angela, is the fact that you take an extremely, you are what I would consider one of the most resonant and aligned brands, personality brands out there, because you take a really strong stand for what you believe in, and you don't, you're a sovereign archetype for sure. And so, you step up to that leadership plate. And I wonder what. Okay, hold on.
I know we're going to be talking here about brand and clarity of brand. And I have been able to
Can you hear?
See the questions, but how would you describe the experience of working with you? No, is that it? I'm sorry. I was able to see your comments before, and now I don't know how we're here.
Oh, you can't see them? Can you hear me?
Oh, I was like with you, and then we seem to have like bad connectivity.
Yikes.
But I will answer this question because I don't think I answered it before about what is the experience in working with me. I think that might be the question Danielle was getting to. I'm just having a little trouble seeing her, but I will say, like, for me, the one thing she mentioned, I was a sovereign archetype and that I am brand aligned. Brand alignment is really important to me, but it's important to me for two reasons. One is because for me, it gets amazing results. Like, people know what they're going to expect. It's a little bit like boot camp. I don't have a ton of flexibility. I know exactly what works, and I'm only going to let you do what works because I care about you if we're working together. And so it's not about trial and error. It's not about discovery of a new method, like somebody who is more of an innovator type of archetype. They are an explorer archetype. Maybe you could create something together. You're not going to create some shit with me. We're just going to do it. We're just going to figure out what result you want and get you that result. And I know exactly how to do it, and there's no bullshit. It's just like one way, one path. And here's the thing. I want you, the second reason why this brand alignment is so important to me, That's what I want you to do with your people. So a lot of people come to me and they want to learn how to do marketing like me. And I tell them, don't do marketing like me. It will never work for you unless you happen to have my exact archetype. And every once in a while I get those people. I have 2 or 3 clients who they're like a perfect fit for me because they can copy what I'm doing. And it's like, oh, it works for them. 99% of my clients, I don't know, 95% of my clients, if they just copied my marketing and made it about weight loss instead of writing a book, it would be a disaster because it's not in alignment with who they are. So that's why I don't believe in blueprints. I don't believe there's one way to learn copywriting or one way to do a website or one way to do anything. The main goal is for you to understand how to be in alignment. That's why I call it the Author Incubator, because we got to find out what makes people resonate with you, what makes people feel like, oh, she gets it. And if you're an explorer type of archetype, that's going to be about creating something together. That's a different program. If you're a sage type of archetype, it's probably just going to be about teaching something, and the result would be less important. So you have to know who you are because people will follow you if you're in alignment.
Right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So Laura asked, what's a sovereign archetype? That is Angela.
Yeah. So I think the concept of just archetypes in general is that everyone has one. Sovereign meaning like queen or king or royal. But everyone has some way that they work already. You don't have to invent a new way or copy someone else. You just have to do it your way, which means you have to identify your way. You have to know who you are. And as I've gotten clearer on who I am, it just makes it so much easier for my people to find me.
Stepped into really that leadership role that you have and that stewardship, really, because that is such a hallmark of a sovereign archetype, is the idea of stewardship and leading by example and the responsibility that weighs on you for the work that you do. And for you, that's, I mean, you are so aligned with that. It's really, like I said, your brand is one to own that responsibility and leadership that you're putting out in the world. So,
Totally. And I think with Make 'em Beg to publish your book, that's like even clearer. That comes through. Like, it's my 3rd book about writing a book, and I think it's the one that's I'm the most confident and the most in alignment with my brand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's awesome. So how can people get a copy of this newest? When's it launching? When's
so we launched on May 18th. You can get a copy at Amazon if you just go to Make 'em Beg to publish your book, or if you type in Angela Lauria. And then if you want a copy of my free training on how to make $250,000 from your book, just go to quartermillionbook.com. And I think I am going to jump to another. I've been on this amazing Facebook Live tour. So I am going to jump to my next call, but it has been amazing spending time with you today, even though we had some technical problems.
Sorry about that. This was my first Be Live, so hopefully I'll learn how to get these kinks out. I know that you're super, super busy and booked solid on this tour, so if anybody has questions, they can go to the Author Incubator.
Yeah, or they can put them in this chat stream, and I'll see them and I'll answer. Bye, everyone. I'm going to sign off. Ciao.
Thanks, guys. I'm sorry for the glitchy technical issues. I'm not sure what was going on. I didn't have any bandwidth messages coming up, so I don't know where that was. Again, hopefully I'll be using this platform in the future, so I'll get those glitches worked out. Thanks for hanging in there with me. If you stayed to the end, and if you popped in and out, I appreciate that. Don't forget, you can get a copy of Angela's book on Amazon, and you can go to the authorincubator.com to learn more about getting your book out in the world. So have a great rest of your day. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.